I think I'd forgotten quite how bad this team is. Welcome back into Off the Wire, the series where I took a dynasty startup team and didn't draft a single player.
I'm so scared. I wish I had a ham sandwich to calm my nerves.
Now I've built my whole team off the waiver wire. I've made a few trades and we are looking to turn this thing around. It has been a few weeks since I've recorded for you guys. I have been off in Crete on my honeymoon. I had an absolutely amazing time, drank myself to oblivion, ate myself to oblivion, saw some ruins, had an incredible time. But now I am back for obviously the more important thing, and talking about ruins, looking through this team, it is going to be so much work to try and sort this thing out. So I'm glad that you guys are with me for the journey. Now, it's obviously been a couple of weeks since I've made an episode, which means that I want to treat this episode as a bit of a reset. Let's have a little bit of a look through the team itself, remind ourselves where we are, and if you're new here, you can have a look to see how bad this team actually is. Then we're going to have a look through some of your comments, and then we are going to have a massive look through the league and point out a bunch of trade targets. The activity in this league hasn't been fantastic. The only thing that's happened since we last recorded was Darren Waller was picked up for 0 fab by someone. Not someone that I'd really have looked to add myself, although I really wasn't paying attention because I was off enjoying my honeymoon. So there's not really been anything happening. We have a fair few assets that we could potentially look to use, and I would like to get some activity going. So I'm going to have a massive look through the entire league and start pointing out some trade targets, but I want you guys to do the same in the comments. But let's start off by taking a look at the actual team. So here we are. This is the team, and you can see immediately that it is not looking fantastic. So at quarterback, this is by far our biggest issue. At quarterback, we just have Kirk Cousins in the starting spot currently. The other quarterbacks we have on the team, you can see here. So Joe Milton and Kenny Pickett. Quarterback is going to be by far our biggest issue on this team, and they're the quarterbacks that I currently have on the roster. But if we take a look and see what's available, there is not a huge amount more available on the waiver wire. So you can see Jameis Winston, Mason Rudolph, Will Levis, Nick Mullins is the fourth highest projected player on the waiver wire currently. So there's not really anything there either. Running back, I've been taking a few shots at some backups. I actually traded for Roshan Johnson, who's currently in the lineup. Blake Corum is currently probably the RB2 on the Rams, so I don't hate having him on the team. The other running backs that we have Raheem Mostert and we have Keaton Mitchell. Now, Keaton Mitchell was actually someone that was advised to me by you guys and by a Twitter poll to go and pick up. Drop Justice Hill for him. I think that's probably a good move. I think Keaton Mitchell is probably the actual backup there. The other running backs we have Brashard Smith. Now, Brashard Smith was a really interesting player that we had an interesting offer for. We didn't manage to get it done, but he's a really great player that I like having on the taxi squad. Wide receiver, we have an interesting mix. So we have Christian Kirk and Adam Thielen in the lineup currently. You can see any pick for a nice win now piece. With Kirk, with Thielen, and with some of the other wide receivers I'm going to show you, I'm going to take absolutely anything. But some of them aren't even on our team yet. We have Jordan Whittington. He's probably the player I'm most likely to drop. I'm not 100% sure what his role is going to be, but maybe wait for some camp hype reports of the fact that he might have won the wide receiver 3 job, that he might be replacing Cooper Kupp in the slot, given that Puka and Devontae Adams probably aren't going to do that. Tutu Atwell certainly isn't a good enough blocker to do that, so maybe worth holding on to for a bit. Then at wide receiver, we also have Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, Romeo Doubs, Torrey Horton, and Elic Ayomanor. Now, Keenan Allen is a really interesting one. I've had a few players around the league say, when he signs with a team, I'll make an offer on him. And probably the same will happen with Amari Cooper. So what I'm thinking, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this, is I might host an auction. I've done this before in Dynasty Leagues. I think it's a fantastic way to sell a player, that you basically post in the chat and say, I'm hosting an auction for Keenan Allen. Whatever the highest offer is, I will sell them. Someone offers you a third, you put in the chat saying, highest offer currently 2026 third. And it means that everyone knows what the price is. And you guarantee, you might only get one offer and you might have to sell for that third. But to be honest, I'd probably do that anyway. You just go back and say, I'm going to sell for the highest offer. So anyone can make whatever trade they think is going to be best for them, and I will accept the highest one from my interpretation. I think that might be a good way to go for Keenan Allen. But anyway, tight end, the gems of this team. We have Brenton Strange, we have Theo Johnson, and we have Ben Sinnott. Now, I like these three, and I would bet actual money, which I kind of am in this series, to be fair. This is a real league. This is a money league. I would bet actual money that one of them will break out this year. My money's probably on Strange or Johnson, but Sinner I really like picking up as well. And tight end is probably the position that we have the most of on the wire. So if we just take a little bit of a look, you can see at the top there, Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, Juwan Johnson, Noah Gray, Noah Fant, Snork Nelson, if you're watching, maybe worth picking up Noah Fant, Tyler Conklin, Cole Kmet, Higby, Disley. Like, it would be quite easy to just build a massive team of tight ends, but I don't really want to do that. I like the ones that we have. If there's anyone that you like, that you preferred on the waiver wire from what you've seen, let me know. Now, the other thing that we have currently, and these are the trades that we've made so far. So we still have our 2026 first. That's not going anywhere. That's going to be the 101. We have our 2026 second, and we have an extra second and 2 extra thirds. Now, I'm not trading my own picks. I can't see a reason to do that, particularly not my first round pick. But the extra second, the extra third, and the second extra third, the 2 extra thirds, some would say, I have no problem with moving. I'm quite happy to move them on. I think it might be smart to move them on. I'm trying to see assets as kind of movable and flexible in this series, so I don't really want to hold on for anything for too long. There's no one on my team, maybe Brashard Smith and Elika Yomenor, that I'm like, I want to have these guys stick around. If you can buy someone for a third and sell them for a second, brilliant, you've made a profit, move on, because we are going to need everything we can get in this series. You've seen the state of that team. It's going to take a lot of work to try and turn this thing around. As I said at the start of the video, let's take a look at a few of your comments. So last time I recorded, I was talking about wide receivers that I could buy for a second round pick. And we had a lot of good feedback. I was glad to see it. So starting off with Sloppy Herman, fantastic username, by the way, although I don't want to know what a Sloppy Herman is Deontay Johnson on waivers if he makes the team and plays well? Surely a contender would flip a third or potentially more. Now, if you've watched the beginning of the video, you'll have seen that I did pick up Deontay Johnson. I dropped Darius Slayton and picked up Deontay. So, Sloppy Herman, thank you for that. Please keep commenting because it will make me say Sloppy Herman in a video. And if you're watching this, if you made it this far into the video, subscribe, comment. I will read out people's comments every single week so you get a chance to be a part of this series. Next up, my guy Snork Elson. Now, Snork is my absolute guy. He's always sending ideas for what he thinks I could do, and he mentioned a couple of ideas. So first of all, he said Jalen McMillan is a perfect target. They re-signed Godwin and drafted Emeka Egbuka. McMillan seems like the odd man out, but the landscape can change fast, and the situation 2 years from now is unpredictable, and McMillan is good. Now, this is a really interesting one. I love Jalen McMillan. It's a slightly risky asset to buy right now, but if you could get him for maybe a third, that could be someone we could look to buy. So I don't hate that one, even though currently doesn't seem like they're going to do a huge amount, but this is a long-term project. The other 2 players that Snork mentioned in another comment, you mentioned Downs, but Pittman could bounce back with better quarterback play and health. Better quarterback play with Daniel Jones rather than Anthony Richardson? Yeah, probably, but I'm not too sure. Ricky Pearsall might take a little more, but will be a guy that could provide solid PPR value once he starts playing. Now, I'm actually a little low on Ricky Pearsall. I think he's overrated at the moment. I'd probably rather go for Juwan Jennings or try and take a discount on Brandon Ayuk. Now, it's been announced that he's going to start the season on PUP, but definitely 2 players that I could explore. And the last one that I want to talk about is Gary Atkinson. Thank you so much, Gary, for the interaction. We spoke about a few wide receivers last time, and Gary commented saying, after I said, do I think I could get any of them for a second round pick? Maybe Judy. There's still quite a few people who think it was only because of Jameis Winston YOLO Ball that he was relevant. So Judy, probably out the players that I spoke about last time, the one that I could look to. But thank you so much for all of the comments, and I'm really going to take them on board as we start to take a look at how to build this team. But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to have a massive look through the trade block, which players are available, and we're going to start thinking about a bunch of players that we could make a move for. So this is the trade block, and we are going to go through every single person's team and start taking a look at which players we could potentially target. We're going to drop some hearts. We're going to see if people send some messages. We're going to let the league know that we are starting to have a think about making some moves. So, Dizzle, what's the sitch? Let's have a quick look. Burrow, Lawrence, definitely not happening. Tua. Tua could be a really interesting one to try and make a slightly undervalue move for. I feel like he's slightly undervalued at the minute. Definitely someone that I could see us making a move for. Could we try and make a move now for Quinchon Judkins? So this is exactly the type of move that we could be trying to make. People are scared about a suspension. People are scared about potential attitude issues. Could this be the time to go and buy a player on the cheap when we know he's going to be missing time? Then at wide receiver, Puka. I'd love Puka Nakua, but that's not happening. Jaden Higgins, Darnell Mooney, Josh Downs, Demario Douglas. I'm going to heart Josh Downs and Demario Douglas because I think those are the kinds of players we might be able to make a move for. Lots of people have mentioned Josh Downs trying to buy him for a 2. I'd love to know if you might be interested in doing that. But what I'll do is I'll make a bunch of offers, not accept any of them, and then we will review them next week. But let me know any of these players if there's a price that you'd like to pay. At tight end, I'm probably not going to buy a tight end, but Arundé Gadsden is someone that keeps coming up. So let's heart him as well. Paul Pickens' team, Mahomes, Murray, not happening. Tyler Shugg could happen. I did trade him Spencer Rattler, so maybe unlikely. At running back, Trey Benson is probably the name that I look there and see that could be something we could do to take a punt for a bit of time in the future. Maybe the same with Rashad White. Probably a player going a little bit under the radar, but actually could return some value. All of these wide receivers, probably unlikely. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin. Don't really see anyone else on that team that we could make an offer for. Jay Les, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert, Matthew Stafford, probably not happening. At running back, Dylan Sampson is really at peak value at the minute, but maybe Miles Sanders could be someone we could offer on. And maybe Javonte Williams. One of them, I think, is going to get the lion's share of the workload in Dallas. So maybe we could look to take advantage of that and flip them in season. Wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., Lad McConkey, Devontae Smith, Isaac Tesla is someone that people have mentioned a lot. Marquise Brown, Brandon Ayuk, I obviously love. Jordan Addison, again, could we take advantage of the fact that Jordan Addison, there's a suspension about to be announced, and try and pounce and gain some value? I don't know if we'll be able to get that done, but then the tight ends, probably not. Luke Woodford at quarterback, love Dak, Penix, May. Doubt we're going to make any offers on any of them, but maybe we can. Achan, Jacobs, Lloyd. So I would say Lloyd would be someone I'd be really interested in. Luke is a massive Packers fan. Probably not going to happen. Jordan James, Trevor Etienne, Tank Bigsby, I think could be a really interesting player to get on the team. I think Bigsby might be able to get a decent share of that workload. He might be undervalued at the moment as people are looking more towards Tootin as the explosive threat. I actually think Trevor Etienne could be interesting. So let's take a look and see when we see him later on. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Jalen Royals, again, probably at peak value. Kyle Williams. I'd be really interested in Kyle Williams. I'd be really interested in Michael Pittman. He has Christian Watson, Rashad Bateman, probably not. And then again, I'm probably going to skip tight end. I don't really think I want to make an offer on tight end. I quite like what we have there. Kilmo has Jared Goff and Justin Fields. I'd love to make an offer on Justin Fields, but he only has 2 quarterbacks, so it's probably unlikely. This is a really interesting team, though, because it seems like he's preparing himself to compete. So Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Kyron Williams, that looks like a competing roster. So maybe if we look at someone like Woody Marks, because he also has Kamara and Connor. So Woody Marks or Jonathan Brooks could be an option. Jonathan Brooks I'm actually not too keen on. But still, if we can get some value there. Jalen McMillan is on Kilmo's team, so we'll like him. Juwan Jennings, Tank Dell. Tank Dell could be an interesting one. I'm probably unlikely to make that move because I just don't think he has much of a future in the league, but we can always try it and we can see. Uh, Ollie has CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield, JJ McCarthy, Dylan Gabriel. Now, Dylan Gabriel, I would love to get on the team because I think he's probably going to end up starting. Probably not week one, but I think he gets the shot over Shedeur Sanders. I don't know why they're being drafted the other way around because they weren't drafted that way around in the real NFL. He has Chuba Hubbard, DeAndre Swift, Ray Davis, Bashal Tootin. This looks like it might be a rebuilding team, but look at those wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, Jack Bash, Ty Felton. So I traded him Ty Felton and AD Mitchell. I really like Jalen Knoll, but maybe we'll like Jack Bash and Jalen Knoll and see if anything can happen there. Rich Bilkey, Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, Cam Ward, Malik Willis. You could try Malik Willis, but I don't really see the point. Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Braylon Allen, Nick Chubb. There's Trevor Etienne, Travis Etienne. Forget which way around they are. Travis Etienne. So that's someone I'd definitely be interested in trying to get under the radar. Pat Bryant, again, I think would be an interesting one. And Rashid Shaheed could be an interesting player to buy. Denver has Brock Purdy, Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, and Shedeur Sanders. Now, Russell Wilson is an interesting one. And I don't think he plays the full season, but he's probably going to play again in future. I don't think he retires after this year. So could you buy him on the cheap and see what you can do there? Ashton Genty, Amarian Hampson, Trevion Henderson. Bloody hell, he has all of the rookie running backs that you want. Jarquez Hunter, DJ Giddens, Caleb Johnson. He has all of the rookie running backs. Taj Brooks, Kyle Monongai. Kyle Monongai could be worth taking a bit of a shot on. Jamar Chase, Zay Flowers, Ricky Pearsall, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden. So Luther Burden is someone I would love to take a look at. And I think he's probably a little bit undervalued at the moment compared to where I have him. My absolute guy, Hot Seat Mags, the inspiration for this series, has Josh Allen and Caleb Williams. We're not getting either of them. Mixon, Monty, Jalen Wright is someone I would really like. Isaac Garendo is someone I would really like. RJ Harvey, we're not getting. Austin Eckler. Maybe you could look for Tajay Spears. Marvin Harrison. Now, if anyone else had Rashee Rice, I think we could try and make an offer. But Mags is a massive Chiefs fan, and Mags is a smart dynasty player. He's not going to be selling Rashee Rice on the cheap. So not even really worth having the conversation there. But Cedric Tillman, I think, could be a really interesting one. Then Diggs, Cup, Adunze, probably not. Could you try and make an offer on Adunze while he's maybe a little undervalued because of they brought in Luther Burden and Colston Loveland? So maybe there's an opportunity there. But not 100% sure. Then Funky Jankets, I know, has basically every quarterback in the league. So no good ones if you're watching Funky, but lots of quarterbacks. Bryce Young, Aaron Rodgers, Riley Leonard, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. So Daniel Jones I would love, but Daniel Jones is a perfect trade target if you're looking for a quarterback at the minute because I think he's going to start. But I think he's intentionally got Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. So we'll like Daniel Jones and we'll see. But I don't really see that one happening. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyrone Tracy could be interesting. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt could be interesting. That's someone that comes up in comments quite a lot. Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle I would love. I don't think it's going to happen. Jerry Jeudy I would love. I don't think it's going to happen. But we can try. Keon Coleman, Trey Harris, Emeka Egbuka. Trey Harris, again, I'd be really interested in. Emeka Egbuka I'd be really interested in. I don't think we can make that happen, but we can try. And finally, Dave Hendo at the end. Lamar Jackson, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold. We can try for Sam Darnold. I don't think it'll happen, but man, I'm doing a lot of I don't think it'll happen. We can make these things happen. Positivity, Lewis. Positivity. Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Jaden Blue. Might be a moment to try and buy Jaden Blue if you like the talent, because there's been some questions about his character. So maybe if you can get in there for a third, it's exactly the kind of thing I want to be doing as camp hype rolls around, saying, this Jamar Chase can't catch, you should probably take a second round pick for him. Try and take advantage there. JSN, Travis Hunter, DJ Moore, I think, is being massively undervalued at the minute, so maybe there's an opportunity there. The same with Jacoby Myers. And I think that is probably it. So that is a bunch of players that we have gone and hearted. What I'll do is I'll put a message out into the sleeper chat and say, recording a new episode today. First of all, you're all rubbish at Dynasty. I've started hearting some players. If there's any there that you would consider selling, hit me up. Let's start negotiating. But also, if you think there's players here that you think I need to be targeting for a third or a second or a combination of a few different picks, let me know and I will have that conversation with you in the comments and we will start plotting out our future to try and turn this team around.